Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentine Lister, and this is the weekly astrology and tarot forecast for Sunday, January 23rd through Saturday, January 29th. So this week, we have that Venus retrograde coming to an end, and it looks like we're going to have some issues coming up. But of course, but this week serves to be a week where we may find like really practical or like even hopefully like clever solutions to our issues and start wrapping them up. So this week I'm going to go through the transits that you need to know about to keep yourself sane, centered, zen. And then at the end, I do a tarot card reading to give you some guidance and advice during the week. If you're new here to my channel, don't know me yet, my name is Valentine Lister, and I'm a professional astrologer, tarot card reader, and I consider myself a YouTuber. And so on this channel, I do weekly forecast. I do a weekly forecast just like this one every Sunday. And I also teach you, right now I'm teaching about tarot. I'll be teaching about astrology, and I also do videos on things about spiritual practices that I think are cool, that are helpful, that I want to share with you. And if you want to know more about me, you can go to my website, valentinelister.com. So without further ado, let's get into this week's forecast. Okay, so the first transit that we have is for Sunday, January 23rd. We have a Mercury Cazimi. So I've talked about Mercury Cazimis before, but basically, a Cazimi is when a planet moves to the center of the sun. And we've had that happen like a few times over the past couple months. And that's something that does happen like more frequently with planets like Mercury or Venus. And so basically, the sun is beautiful, it's bright, it's optimistic, it's sunny, it's the light of our lives, the truth, like the soul that drives us forward, because it was, associated with sunny Apollo, who had to tell the truth, had to tell what he was thinking, could not tell a lie. So the truth of the soul, and also inspiration. Apollo liked to hang out with the muses who, created music and loved things like philosophy and history and astrology and dancing, all of those fun things. But, Apollo, he could be a little overbearing, maybe a little bit annoying. So basically, when the sun gets too close to a planet, it starts to turn into a malefic force, because if you've ever stayed all day out in the sun, especially in the summer, after a while, you get burned. So the sun in moderation is a good thing. It gives us vitamin D, but when it gets too close to us, it burns us and it can cause harm. So in ancient Hellenistic astrology, which is what I practice, they considered that that's what the sun did to the planet. It burned it up. It was too hot for it. So kind of weakened the planet, its ability to do its own thing. And so generally, like what that actually translates to is that like planets close to the sun can bring up like hidden matters or surprises. Oftentimes when I see this in charts for people, it's usually there's an area of life where that person is unprepared, or there's going to be surprises, like people doing things without them knowing, or just like things coming out of nowhere, is generally what happens when the planet is under the sun. But when it's Cazimi, that planet is in the center of the sun and it has a little bit of a break from being weakened. It's kind of like if that planet was in a sauna or a hot bath or doing like a skin cleanse or something. Once that planet is in the same degree or the center of the sun, it becomes purified and it becomes its best self, its purest version. And the sun is like, hey, look at this planet, because you can see it in the center of the sun. It highlights that planet, and that planet becomes the sun's special guest, so that it's that planet in its purest form. So we have Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. So this Sunday, and this is happening today. So today, we're going to see what Mercury in Aquarius is. And I'm thinking that that's going to mean really clear, objective thinking, because we have the moon trining Mercury, that Mercury Cazimi in Libra. And so when we have like a planet in an air sign or Mercury in an air sign, That means that like we tend to be able to see like for example in Aquarius we would see clearly like everybody's opinions and what everybody's thinking and what everybody needs. And then we have this like feeling moon in Libra, which is a sign where it's like, let me take myself out of the equation and look at what, you know, both parties need in a situation. Um, so basically, going on and on about this, but I think that we're going to be able to have this moment of thinking and planning very clearly and objectively, being able to see the situations happening in our lives in a way where we're not like bogged down by emotions or our desires or our needs, but we're able to just see what the situation needs and think about it. But okay, so this is in retrograde. We're in retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde still. And so we have to remember that when the planets are in retrograde, it's a time of review. So we're looking at things that have happened or things that are coming up. We're finding things and hidden things that may have been lost as far as, you know, like relationships, negotiating things, business, or like money, marketplace, like romantic relationships, business relationships, and encounters, the way we experience pleasure and fun and playfulness. And looking at those things and like reviewing them, and we're going to have to make adjustments. So the thing is, we're going to see a situation clearly today, and we're going to be able to think things through. But it's not going to be a time to act on those things. It's still a time to review them. And so it's actually looking at our situation. And one thought that I had is that there may be this comfort for ourselves or others where we're feeling left out or lost or feeling like an outsider or that we don't have things together or we're not thinking like how other people do, because we have this in Saturn sign, right? So Saturn can be related to the scapegoat or the outsider. And in Aquarius, it's us like having a relationship with that or our reaction to that. So planning things out. Um, so basically, it's not a time to act, but we're going to be like pushed to act is like kind of the feeling that I'm getting because we have Mars transitioning for tomorrow, which I'm going to get in for tomorrow. We're going to have Mars ingressing Capricorn. So I'm talking about it's a time to review, time to look at things and figure them out. But here's the problem. The problem is that when it comes to Monday, we're going to think we see a solution clearly. And we're going to have events, probably like actual like physical events come up for us that are going to cause us to like really need to act and not just reflect, but actually like put forth energy, or we're going to feel pressure to act, like a lot of pressure. Okay, because Mars is the god of war, of messing stuff up and causing like strife, disharmony. That's the god that helps you cut things off, make a decision, take action, the warrior, but also a very destructive, malefic force, can take away life, right? When we cut things, we can cut down life. And it could be pruning the hedges, but it also could be causing a lot of strife. So Mars is entering Capricorn. And the thing you need to know about Mars entering Capricorn is that it's exalted in Capricorn. Meaning that the planet has good fortune in that area, but we don't want to like wash over, brush over the Mars energy, which can subjectively to us feel really harsh and destructive and can cause a lot of problems, even if it is productive. So basically, like when Mars goes into a Saturn ruled sign, we have to think of Mars as like emotionally impulsive, like gets upset and starts fighting, is ready to fight. Like, you messed with me, you're saying something to me, like I'm gonna like mess you up, right? I'm gonna like cut you down, I'm gonna fight with you, I'm gonna mess you up, right? If you mess with me, like don't mess with me is a very Mars energy. So one of the reasons Mars does really well in Capricorn is because it's a Saturn ruled sign. And Saturn is the malefic that slows things down. It's going to take a really, really long time. Everything takes a long time with Saturn. Everything is going to be grueling, hard work and toil because that's life on Earth. Things take a really long time to develop on Earth, and really hard work. Saturn, god of agriculture. So Saturn rules Capricorn. And so when Mars is in Capricorn, Saturn slows Mars down. It says, Mars, think about things, like really think about what you're doing and what your ultimate goal is at the end of the day. And in Capricorn, it's also talking about physical security and safety, right? So Mars can be a really protective energy. If Mars is fighting for you, like you're going to be protected. If a big, like tough guy is like security and protecting you, you're going to do pretty well, right? If you're like on the right side of that person. And so Mars and Capricorn, hopefully you're on the right side of the protective energy. But when Mars ingresses, we do want to look at a lot of times like accidents, injuries. We could have surgeries, or I don't know, like it could be minor things. A lot of times it's very minor, could be major things. So just be very, very careful. Exalted or not, Mars is Mars. So it's not a day to act rashly or act out of control. And that Saturn energy, that Mars in Capricorn, will help us with that. And so basically we're going to like have this drive to want to act, or we may need to, because I have a feeling stuff is going to come up and it's not just like in our head. So we might have like things related to our physical security come up. So money, resources, things related to your home, related to your children, the people in your home, your job, and legal matters, because we have that moon in Libra. So you may have those type of things coming up. And possibly out of nowhere, because we have like Pluto in Capricorn in the mix. And so we're going to need to deal with it. And so we're going to have this drive or real need to get stuff done. And, you know, some of that motivation, some of the need to act might be related to our personal desires or need for personal security and this pressure to feel like we need to act now. But like, so there may be something hidden coming up, like a hidden matter, legal matter, financial matter, money matter, or relationship issue, like where people that you're in relationships are actually doing something, like physically doing something that's an issue that needs to be dealt with in some way. And so like the problem is that we have Mercury retrograde, we have we have Venus retrograde. So it's really more of a time for reflection. Um, and then we have Mercury combust under the sun. So I talked yesterday about how Mercury Cazimi, we're able to think things clearly and like see things clearly. But now, like the next day, Mercury is back under the beam. So Mercury, our ability to think clearly and plan things out, is weakened. Plus we have actually Saturn under the sun. So hidden difficulties or restrictions, restricting our life force in some way, causing difficulties that we need to act on. So if you need to do something, like if there's something you have to act on, you'll know it. And it's not that you can't take action on it, but we need to remember to reflect on it. The focus still needs to be reflecting on what we're doing, why we're doing it, kind of taking, like having a moment of, as this difficulty comes up, as we act, how did we get here? What happened? How do I deal with things or difficulties with people or relationships, money matters, physical security, you know, like these even like practical things like planning my life out. How am I dealing with these things? At like and like having awareness about how you're dealing with things. So not just acting without thinking about it, but actually seeing what you're doing. And then with that awareness, a lot of times things can click for us about the way we're doing things, and if there's anything that needs to be adjusted or things that need to be healed or corrected, or kind of like having like even a mental breakthrough or physical breakthrough about how we could be doing things, how things could be. So it's gonna, I think it has the potential to be a very productive energy on Monday if we have the ability to really step into that Mercury in Aquarius and like look at what's happening objectively, even as we're going through it. And so on Tuesday, January 25th, this kind of theme continues. We have Mercury retrograding back into Capricorn. And so that's cool. I mean, it's cool because it's like we have this potential to actually like figure out a solution that is super practical, that is going to help us, again, with our need for physical security, money, or home, the, like really being able to like physically like depend on and rely on the people in our life, the people we have relationships with, whether a romantic relationship or like a personal relationship, like a coworker relationship, or with your boss or a teacher, something like that. And we're reviewing how we plan out and do those things. And so Mercury is going to go right into a conjunction when it retrogrades with Pluto. So if we haven't figured out, like if we haven't found something that is hidden or have like a hidden issue come up for us, we're going to have it come up because it's going to conjunct Pluto, that god of the underworld, who brings things up that are hidden. And a lot of times these things that are hidden can relate to shame that we have. Like there's a reason that we push these things under and don't really look at them because we have shame about them. But the thing is about life is we shouldn't really be, or like the spiritual journey is like, we don't need to hold on to that shame or embarrassment about those things. Those are things that we can let go, but a lot of times we don't believe that we can let it go. And especially with all this Capricorn energy, we're probably refuse to let it go and just be like whatever, because Capricorn energy, we tend to be harsh on ourselves and unforgiving. It can have that aspect to it, which is actually not always super practical. It's based on fear. So we're going to have a hidden problem, a practical problem about those physical resources or people we need to depend on in those relationships. And so that shame can be related to either like something we're afraid of, but it can also be something where we desire something, but we're afraid of that desire, or we're afraid to let that come up. And so now we're going to go back and review the way we've dealt with those things, right? Those things that are pushed under, and the way we've dealt with it in a practical way. And it could be related to like shame about money, right? A lot of us are having financial difficulties right now. That's not a huge shocker or surprise, right? With the pandemic and everything that occurred. But we still have shame about it, even though like the world's a mess. There's really not a clear answer as to like what practically to do or physically to do, because everything seems like everything is kind of up in the air, like economically, to be honest. Even if you're in a good situation, it's still kind of, you feel like you're on shaky grounds. Or it could be related to, even in Capricorn, physical, earthly desires, that Venus in Capricorn. So shame related to your sexuality or your romantic relationships, the ability to have a partner, that you can rely on and depend on, who you can really trust. So if you've had a partner, do things and that are untrustworthy, or you can't rely on them, a lot of shame related to that. Like, why didn't I know better? Or, like at work, having relationships at work where like maybe like, is your boss respecting you or your coworkers respecting you, and maybe not getting like compensated in the way that you need to be, or maybe not acknowledged like at school for what you're doing, or are you making the right decisions about like what you're studying or what you're working on in order like to improve your life. So those type of like shame issues can come up. And with Mercury there, the god of like mischief and planning, like practical plans, being able to see the steps like all the way through, we'll look at those things, have those painful things come up, but so we can look at them, let them go, and really figure out like a plan to move forward, a very practical plan to move forward. And most likely on Tuesday, it's going to be super emotional having these things come up. We have that moon in Scorpio, but supportive. That moon is making a sextile to Venus. So having so we'll like most likely the energy is having the maturity to deal with these things, that we're going to revisit these things that are difficult, but having the maturity to deal with it, even though it will be, I anticipate, like super emotional come up. When we have this, we have the last quarter moon. That this is like when the moon is in those last phases, like the older, wiser moon in the month, where it's just like we can handle these things. Like we feel better equipped to handle these things, um, even if it poses a lot of difficulty or even misfortune. Okay, and then still on Friday, by Friday, we're really in our problems and we're really solving them. Not without difficulty. So, just continuing, Mercury is making a conjunction to Pluto on Friday, January 28th. So, really, like, those issues I talked about with like shame or hidden things coming up with how we're valued or how we provide for ourselves or how other people provide for us, is really coming to a head and should be relieved. Like after this is going to be it's kind of like the intensity and the pressure. You're going to feel it more leading up to Friday, and then come Friday, Saturday, things are going to start easing up for you, like some light at the end of the tunnel. So we have these difficult issues. If it hasn't come up earlier in the week, probably difficult issues like bringing up that physical safety and security again, how people provide for us, how other people, like how we provide for ourselves, how other people provide for us, and what we really desire for our physical security or safety or physical pleasure. Um, and so when Mercury conjuncts Pluto, it's going to be a revisit. It happened around December 30th. So think about like prior to the new year, like the day before New Year's Eve, like what was going on around then. We're going to see those themes come up again and a revisit to those issues. And it's going to be easier to deal with then. We're going to feel more optimism around that. With a beautiful moon in Sagittarius, a waning moon. And so, honestly, about these difficulties or problems, we're going to get some headway on this where we're feeling just more optimistic, more like things are coming together, and that we can figure out a solution. We see a light at the end of the tunnel, even if we can't see the ultimate solution again. And perhaps by Friday, really making a breakthrough in this issue of like physical security or relationship security. Um, you know, and maybe even asserting our desires for physical safety or pleasure, because we have that Mars in Capricorn, that beautiful exalted Mars. Yeah, and just feeling more optimistic, but also part of that, as I mentioned, for earlier in the week, maybe we're able to let go of what's not working for us. Maybe like let go of it either mentally or, like in the way we think that things should be, or physically letting go, making a like an actual like physical decision to like change something or do something different, or maybe we're not interacting with certain people anymore. Maybe we're like physically cutting ties with people or physically engaging, re-engaging with people. Probably more so endings because of that Venus retrograde, and Venus retrograde tends to take a toll on our relationships, and it helps us to cut off or end, I shouldn't say completely cut off. I'm thinking of Mars, that cutting energy, but it helps us to end relationships that are really not serving us or working for us anymore. And there's a season for everything. There's a season to begin relationships. There's a season to end them. So we may be deciding to end relationships, or end something that we're doing in some way. Um, but or we may be changing the way that we're doing things. We may not be cutting off relationships, but we may be physically making changes about the way we're doing things, even moving or changing jobs, like changing our strategy for money or relationships, or the way we date in relationships. Could be anything along those lines, but definitely feeling better about things. And then the last thing, I'll probably talk a little bit more about this next week, but on Saturday, January 29th, Venus stations to go direct, and it's going to go direct on Sunday, January 30th. And so this should help give it have us have a conclusion um, to like those the bigger issues of our relationship issues or those like pleasures or desires. We still may have some issues coming up because we have Mars co-present with that Venus. So Mars likes to mess things up. It gets a little bit intense. And then Venus is going to pass over Pluto again as it moves through Capricorn. So she's at, like 11 degrees. She's like early, still kind of early mid Capricorn. So she's going to pass over again Pluto. So we definitely will have those issues of safety, security, the way we deal with our relationships, money, physical pleasure, physical security, resources for physical security, or sorry, physical and more so physical pleasure. I'm looking at that Mars again. Physical pleasure and desire. But the worst of it, like the worst of the storm has passed, and now we're still going to have some rain. But we've looked at these issues enough, and if you sit with it, you're doing your spiritual practices to gain awareness around it, to step out of it, not get so involved in it personally or emotionally sometimes, but be able to let go of ourselves and just experience what's happened, be in the experience, take the judgment out of it, have like learning to have compassion for ourselves around here, and also really be able to deal with it head on, right? So, a lot of times in our spiritual practices, we're doing mindfulness and we're being present, right? But it's not just to be mental here. It's part of mindfulness is knowing when to act, when the universe, and like our higher power, whatever, is telling us when to act and what to do. Like when we clear our minds and center ourselves and actually can connect to our physical environment, it becomes easy to know what we're supposed to do next. So that's, I believe, like what this retrograde is really helping us to do, really grounding ourselves. And yeah, so the worst of it is going to be over come Sunday. Hallelujah. So I'm going to get into the tarot card reading for this week to give us some advice on what we really need and what would be helpful for this week moving forward. All right, guys, so let's see what we have going on for this week. So the first card will be what the overall energy of the week. This one wanted to pop out. So yeah, Saturn energy, we have the World. So like I said, dealing with practical matters head on, dealing with life as life is, not trying to sugarcoat it or trying to escape from the world, but really being grounded, really being really calling on our practical selves to just look at things as they are and look at things as developing over time and having seasons of life, and that it adds to the wisdom of life, like when we're looking at it and learning how to flow and float with life. And really, like, I'm getting this image of like learning how to glide in the air, like if you're on like a hang glider, right? Learning how to fly, learning how to surf the waves of life and your emotions and like physically, and like just having the wisdom, again, to be able to deal with life as life is. Okay. And so the advice for the week. Oh, so we have some big changes coming up this week. Two major arcana cards coming up already. So the advice for the week is the Justice card. Yeah. And so related to our relationships, related to sometimes in life, things come to an end, and they're supposed to come to an end. There's a time to begin and there's a time to cut things off and to step away. And there's this energy of like objectiveness, like, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a life that comes after death, right? So after a relationship ends, or after a situation ends, or a situation we have to step away, after death there is life, and there's wisdom in that, and we're going to have to call on that wisdom to see the light, and we're going to have the maturity to step away from things, to see things objectively, to not take it personally, and to really step away from our desires. And again, really see the light at the end of the tunnel, the light through the death. That everything comes in cycles. There's cycles of life, birth and death, like this, like Saturn energy here, right? There's a time that things are born, there's a time that things die, and we need to learn to flow with that, and we need to learn not to fight it, because that makes it easier, but it also creates more justice. um, there's something coming through in this card, that there's injustice by holding on to things longer than we need to hold on to them. There is a time to let go, and you're fighting with the universe if you're not letting them go. um, you're supposed to let them end so that new things can come forward, and new life can come forward to you, and new beginnings. And if you don't let go, you're preventing things from moving forward. Okay, and so the outcome of the week, we have the Four of Cups reverse, or four, it's upright. We have the Four of Cups as the outcome of this week. Yeah, and yeah, the outcome this week looks like we will be able um, to deal with this energy, and to deal with the flow of life, and the things that are happening, and what we've been given. Um, and also, like, I think also, with this Four of Cups, we're going to have the maturity to not take anything on emotionally, like more emotionally than we need to, um, like that we've had our fill, like we've had our cup full with difficulties and difficult emotions, and tough things happen, and learning not to take any more on, learning not to take on other people's problems or other people's emotions or issues, but that um, like we've really taken on enough. We have more than what we need to take care of. And having this sense of emotional centeredness and groundedness. Yeah. And like really being okay, really just like not taking on more than we need to. Wow. And yeah, just really being able to just, it's not even like this super emotional nurturing that I'm getting taken care of, but just that kind of this like very like centered and practical energy of, this is not the time to take on more things. I'm fine where I'm at, and just this very centered, very grounded energy where we're not even in our head. We're just like just going to take things at like take things as they are, and feeling super emotionally centered and grounded, versus all over the place. If you know, all over the place feels like, this is not that. This is like bringing all those emotions in, taking them in, and being okay with them. All right, so looking at the mind, body, and spirit, and what we need to do to nurture ourselves. So in our minds, we have the Four of Swords reversed. So one of my things this week, looking at, we have the moon in Libra, is that we might have some legal issues coming up. Um, and that could be like actual like court matters, legal, like, it could be a ticket, could be like owing taxes, I don't know, or doing your taxes, right? Tax season has started. Has it? Okay. Anyway, dealing with some of like legal matters, or it could be a fight or an issue where you have to like call the police or something, those legal matters, right? So we might have that coming up, like have that on our minds, like just legal matters or legal issues that we need to attend to, or it could do with laws, right? So we have laws, different laws that are, coming into play, that, that we may um, be focused on, and be focused on that issue. Um, and there may be some conflicts surrounding that. So some conflicts surrounding those legal matters, and how to act and move forward, um, in a just way, in a compassionate way. But there is some tension around that, some tension around those like legal matters, or issues of negotiation, coming to a resolution. So even in a relationship, even if it's not something that relates to like a legal matter, just coming to a place where you can negotiate both sides and both parties, and just really in our minds, like kind of like focused on this one issue and this one conflict throughout the week. And then as far as our bodies, we have the Four of Pentacles reversed, very earthy energy, Sun in Capricorn type energy. Yeah. So just getting this image of like losing our crown when it comes to our body. So I'm thinking like body issues coming up, like issues with our bodies and the way that we feel about our bodies, and really feeling judgmental in our bodies. Um, Maybe not treating our bodies so well in some way, or not valuing our bodies, like letting that value like fall out of our hands, right? And not really honoring like ourselves, like our personal bodies and our like our physical security maybe, or just the way we nurture our like nurture ourselves physically, how we treat ourselves physically. Maybe we're not honoring ourselves so much, um, and not seeing our value and really embracing like all of us and what our body does for us. Like our body does so much for us. A lot of times, like we're thinking about our physical appearance or our physical health. Um, and like we're not thinking about how well like everything does work in the body to help us survive and help us to really thrive, right? So we can have problems with our health or problems with our appearance, but think about your heart beating right now, and like how hard and but how well like your heart just works to keep the blood pumping through your body, how your lungs are working to help you breathe in this moment right now. And you're not even thinking about it, right? We're not even thinking about all of the things that our body does that work out really well to keep us just like watching this video, like being able to pick up our computer, being able to take information in, to be able to eat, to be able to enjoy physical pleasures, or just being able to anything you can move in your body is a miracle. And you didn't make it that way, right? The universe created you as you are, this like beautiful being that you are, that gets to experience this like wacky and crazy experience of life. And just really valuing that and what your body can do for you, and not seeing it so tunnel vision that my body or what I'm doing is only okay in this like small little circle right here. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing here, but this small little circle that we're looking at. So really valuing that and not being overly focused. I think our focus is going to be a little bit pigeonholed this week, where we're like looking so closely at an issue that we're going to have trouble stepping away and being objective and being like, this is only a blip in the universe of all of the things that are going to happen. And in the grand scheme of things, we'll be okay. But we can be overly focused and bring up like too much anxiety for us right now. And so in our spirit, looking at our spirit, we have the Page of Swords reversed. So thinking of like, yeah, a young female energy who's maybe not super grounded, maybe not helping us out so much, feeling disconnected with this person. Um, yeah, this young female, so maybe somebody we have a relationship with um, in some way. So it could be any young female, right? It could be a friend, could be, a coworker, fellow student, could be a daughter, or just somebody like somebody you see in the media or the news or in your community in some way, seeing this like young female person who's really disconnected and not super grounded. And maybe perhaps they're a little too connected or grounded to their desire, maybe indulging in things and being really free spirited, um, and maybe too up in their head and not really connecting to you, um, not really communicating things. And maybe you're thinking that this person is a little bit selfish and not thinking of other people and just being like really underhanded. And so difficulty in our relationships with a person with this young female or feminine energy, who can be quick to act, could be up in their head, and really feeling disconnected from this person. Like, what are they doing? Like, what are they like thinking? and kind of maybe even creating some anger, some like feistiness in you. And hey, this isn't the place of spirit. So maybe it's good that you're getting a little bit spirited and just looking at like the anger or like the shame or disgust that comes up for you this week and looking at it like first of all letting it purge from your body. And the best way to do that is letting it pass, letting it come up, really sit with that pain or discomfort. Don't try to do anything about pain or discomfort because that ends up being a problem that helps push it back down. Having a way to really sit with it and see what it is, and also see that it passes no matter how bad that pain or discomfort or unpleasant experiences happen. It will pass. Like the mind changes, the emotions change all the time. We have these transits that show us how the emotions and things and thoughts and feelings and situations change. It's constant change. Life is constant change. So you won't feel this way forever. And really finding a way in your mind to thrive. Like with those thoughts or feelings or emotions, whatever comes up. And that's what your spiritual practice is for, to help you have awareness, but also to help ground you and sit with it. So like using your cards, getting in a bath, like putting herbs or salts in the bath, like having crystals around you, having music that helps you. Um, those things can help you really center yourself and sit with yourself and like ground yourself, and your meditation practice, right? Whatever meditative practice, there's a million ways to meditate, I'm pretty sure. Those like, and the point is not that you clear your head. You're never going to get rid of your emotions. You're never going to get rid of the way the mind worries or your emotions being all crazy. But what you realize is that you don't have to be tethered to them. You don't have to react every time they happen. You can just sit and watch them and be like, oh, cool, okay. And just not do anything about it. Just sit and watch them and be present with them. And that's the door to freedom. That's the solution to your problems. That's the way you're going to get out of this. So that's what I'm getting come through for the week. That's the advice. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good week as far as being able to sit with our problems, look at them, deal with life as it is, and meet them head on. And that's never a bad thing, even if it doesn't always feel pleasant. Like that's the stuff that's really going to help us out. All right, I'm going to turn the camera now to show you these cards. All right, so these are the cards that I pulled for you for this week. So if you'd like to reflect on them more, you can pause this video and take some time with them. And this is a quick reminder that if you liked this week's forecast, if you like the videos that I put out, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for when I release a new video. I do these readings every Sunday, and I do videos to teach you guys about spiritual practices. Right now I'm going through tarot cards, teaching about the symbolism and how how astrology and tarot, they fit together like two peas in a pod. Also, if you found value in this video, make sure to share it out with other people. Share the wealth. If this video helped you or you really enjoyed this video, that may be the same for other people. All right, love you guys so much. Take care, and I'll see you soon. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.